Ndị be anyị ndeewono. Welcome to today's program. Well, we have to do justice to a topic titled Ikenga. What is Ikenga? Ikenga is the Igbo symbol of strength and success. It is significant and a carving that depicts success and willpower. It is a symbol associated with achievements and the awakening of the inner strength, which is believed to represent a man's personal chi. You know, in one of the topic we've treated, I have talked about chi. So, an Ikenga is made by combining two words, Ike and Nga. Ngayari. The power or strength of motion or exploration. This is compared to the Ofo. The Ikenga is another important spiritual totem and artifact of the Igbos, which has deep spiritual symbolism. Well, Ikenga is not a deity. However, Ofo and Ikenga are consecrated to activate their spiritual efficacy and its important cultural significance, which are attached to the carvings even in their ordinary form. Well, if you ask me, I can say that Ikenga means Ikenjiaga, the source, the strength, and courage that epitomizes one's energetic life of being enterprising to every achievement in life. Ikenga connotes the symbol of achievement, courage, progress, time, productivity, which symbolic totem is usually found through the use of one's right hand. Some people are left-handed. You know that people who are left-handed in Igbo land is usually like nafa na-eme aka ekpe. Onye ọbụla na-eme aka ekpe is termed as a thief. The person can be identified as a thief. Realistically, I want to tell you today that it is not every left-handed person that is a thief. It can be a behavioral pattern. It can also mean that that is their own place of strength, but it doesn't mean that the person is a thief if the person is right-handed. So, what am I trying to say? Ikenga is the symbol of achievement. You know, in Alibo, we place importance on a lot of things, and the symbols and totems are all part of ordinary Igbo spirituality. That is why some people who really don't understand those symbolic totems, they end up saying that they will even go as far as telling you that you look like one of the alusi. Now, today that we are treating the topic about Ikenga, you can now see that Ikenga is a symbolic totem and that it is not a deity, but it can be consecrated. Well, the consecration is something that is personal to families and to an individual. But why I am treating this topic is for you to know what an Ikenga is, so that you will not join the people with that head mentality of when they see an Ikenga carving, they will think that it is a deity or most times in Igbo land, there are some parts that they will regard some things like this as a deity. But today, the emphasis on telling you about what the symbol means. A symbol of achievement. We are very industrious, very enterprising in Igbo land. Both our men and our women. We don't like staying idle. We like working. We work before we eat. Reason for the saying, Aluonang Elienando. When you toil under the sun, you now go under the shade to eat or to reap the fruits or the rewards of your labor. I'm just translating it literally, but it has a very deep meaning. For us to do things and excel in it, it takes time, it takes courage, it takes us being productive. That is why you hear about the Igbo apprenticeship. That is a topic I will talk about one of these days. I will discuss about it. So, for this apprenticeship, you can see how from a very young age, an Igbo man becomes productive. An Igbo man becomes hardworking. Let me not say Igbo man, let me just say an adolescent, because this Igbo apprenticeship was started from a very young age for the male in our society. It could even be from the age of 8 years, 10 years, 14, 16. It depends on when the parents feel that I want my son to learn something to become somebody in life. So after the processes, they will now go with the person he's supposed to learn from. After learning, he will now go to the field, or maybe he will continue to exercise that kind of profession, that kind of trade that he or she learned. Most times it's usually the male, but today even the female, we are involved in learning, in apprenticeship. Today in Igbo land, we have women who are shoemakers, cobblers. They are into fashion designing too. So they go into a long period of apprenticeship. That is to show you that we started early to work hard. We started early to use our time properly. But sadly today, I don't think this is the way it is. Because time, season, and chance happen to us, happen to our society. For every society, they move with the climb they find themselves in. They move with what could be found in that century. So that is it for them. Well, I want to tell you that we started on time to exercise our Ikenga, to achieve things by becoming courageous, by becoming progressive. We are always progressive in nature, and we make use of time. There is no man or woman that you see that will just sit down and become idle. But today, what do we see? A lot of boys are involved in 419 scheme, defrauding people, embezzlement, for the women, prostitution, in fact, so many other dirty things that you can't be proud of. You can't be proud to say, this is what I do. You hear about human trafficking, child trafficking, a whole lot of negative activities or negative vocation that doesn't depict who an Igbo man or woman is. But in the days of old, you can see that Ikenga inspires people to do well. Ikenga makes us to use our time well, to be productive, because the symbol is an inspiration. Even though You learn today that Ikenga is usually found through the use of one's right hand. You also know that some people are left-handed. It doesn't mean that they don't have an Ikenga. Or it doesn't mean that when you see an Ikenga that is left-handed, you condemn it and say, oh, what is this? This is for criminals. This is for armed robbers. You know? You know how people usually they panic when they see things they don't understand. They term it evil and demonic. So I will equally encourage people, after listening to me today, you can visit a museum to find out more on Ikenga. You can go to Enugu Museum. You can go to the museum in Lagos, the British Museum. There are a lot of museums all around us. Even there are some communities that have a museum. This is why it is good to have museum to keep all these artifacts and also use it to teach our children, the future generation, the oncoming generation, so that they will know more things about their tradition, about their culture, about their arts, about who they are, to know more about symbolism, to know more about totemic symbols. So they won't, out of ignorance, become afraid, or when they see it, they feel that this is juju. So, realistically, like I said before, not every left-handed person is a thief. It can be a behavioral pattern, and it can mean that that is their own place of strength. No argument, please. That is their own place of strength. If I'm right-handed, surely that is my own place of strength. If I'm left-handed, surely that is my own place of strength. It doesn't mean that I am a thief because of the adage that a left-handed person is a thief. Onye ọbụla na-eme aka ekpe bụ onye ochi. In this regard, no, we have to discard it. We have to know that it's a kind of behavioral pattern which is now acceptable because people write with that left hand. They can eat with it, they beat drums with it, they press their phone with it, and so on and so forth. Well, let me tell you something. Before the arrival of the colonialists and advent of imported religion, every family had an Ikenga. It's just like you go to people's home who are into foreign religion. You see that how they make their own altar, especially for the Catholics. You see how every family that is a Catholic have their own altar. Even though I don't like the way most of them put it, you see their altar, they display it anyhow. Altar is a sacred place, all right? So it shouldn't be the cynosure of everyone's eyes that once you come into someone's home, you see the altar. But maybe most of them think that once someone comes into their home and see the altar, that every negativity or evil that the person came with will become neutralized merely by looking at the altar. I just can't fathom. I really can't tell. So it doesn't bother me. But you just have to know that every family in Igbo land had the Ikenga. And because of this, but every family had Ikenga. You know what happened during the colonial era now? You know how all these artifacts were looted. You know how they were carted off. Even some of our brothers, they gave it away, thinking that it is evil, or maybe they were bribed with money, mirror, and so on, in exchange for that. We believe so much in nature. That is why we always carve things. Probably in that era, there was nothing like a camera. So we carve things with wood so that we can easily remember whatever the gods reveal to man. So it is a very great achievement. Then we had a lot of wood carvers. We had lots of them. There is no family that doesn't have an Ikenga. There is no man or woman that doesn't have chi or chi. There are some wooden carvings that represent something, maybe the gods or the deities. So what am I saying? That is why in those days, you see when a woman is coming to her husband's house, she goes along with her chi or with her ogugu for protection. Let me not digress. So when the colonialists came for their colonialism, they looted and carted away so many artifacts. You can say that a lot of them originated from Igbo land. That is the one reason why you will see Ikenga in different museums around the world. The best well-carved Ikenga, you will see them displayed in British museums. You can see them at the Enugu Museum and a whole lot of other places where they have museums. I don't know if today we still have a lot of wood carvers. It would even go a long way for us to know that having an Ikenga is something good. For me that I'm talking with you today, I have an Ikenga because I am a woman and my chi has Ikenga. My chi had Ikenga. She was very enterprising and Obuagalaya. So it is good for you to know more about Ikenga. After initiation into the age grade, a specially carved and consecrated Ikenga was given by members of the family as a symbol to their sons, ushering them into personal achievement and success in their endeavors. Can I say it's a talisman? Well, it is not, but it kind of serves as an inspiration, a motivator, something that inspires and makes them to become innovative enough to achieve success in all their endeavors. They will know this is Ikenjiaga. So they will do everything possible diligently, not in a crooked way, to achieve a lot in terms of using their brain, the manpower, and maybe resources, human and material resources around them, to make out something, produce something that can better the lives of people in the society. You see, it encourages them and makes them bring out their potentials. They are into professions like carving, as being artists. It pays them. Blacksmithing, like you will see in my place. I am from Oka. We are very good in Nkanuzu technology. Nkanuzu. So that is why we are called Umwezuzu. You see, a lot of people were into farming, hunting, fishing. It was a profession that is obtainable in the olden days. Even till today, these professions, they are not to be neglected, because anybody that has this kind of profession, I bet you, forever, they will earn a living, because it's very rare to see blacksmiths today and a good artist that can carve things out of wood. Majority, sadly, they have abandoned farming. You know, everybody's rushed to become to work a white collar job. You know, to become government speaking. Yes, that is the word. The sadly things are equally changing. So when they undergo this initiation rites, the Ikenga will be handed over to them using the right hand. That right hand is called Aki Ikenga. The gesture of using the right hand is believed to be the active hand for success. Aka na-eme mma. Aka na-eme mma. So when it's handed to them using the right hand, they are supposed to be successful, because that gesture of using the right hand is a motivator itself, a source of inspiration for them to, that's for their life, in the industriousness to be activated, for them to be successful in any work they choose to do, or any job or any profession. Some distinguished women, hold it too. They have Ikenga, but those days is not as much as the men, as they were the ones to prove their achievement. These distinguished women are involved in pottery making, weaving, trading. Because those days, to weave an akwete, wow, awesome. Even then, that they don't have an industry or a mechanized machine for weaving. They constructed their own weaving looms. Very tedious. But once you see the finished product, you will marvel. Pot making. They mold lots of pots, different types, different shapes and sizes. Then some are involved in trading. They travel far and wide, to trade, either trade by barter or not just trading of what they bring out from the farm, their farm produce. Women those days are millionaires, or let me say billionaires. It's not today that a lot of them shipping themselves, all in the name of feminism, which they are doing wrongly. For someone to take pride and joy in prostitution is very, very wrong. You can see that in the olden days, our women were enterprising. They were so industrious. They were billionaires. They took care of their family. Even when the man, you can say that the man, ada agbambo fuma. It doesn't matter, as long as the woman is doing her own part in the family and she's successful with it. Unlike today that a woman earns more than the man and turns the man into a house help. She will now abuse the man verbally, verbal abuse. It is all part of domestic violence too. So I don't want to digress, but at least you get my drift in what I'm trying to explain. So those days, men are the ones that will prove their mettle. They have to work towards it to achieve whatever it is, whatever choosing profession they are in. They owe it to themselves, to the society. They owe it to their family to do better. You don't see people going around with guns, shooting and robbing people. No. The Ikenga is a motivational force. The Ikenga, when it is consecrated, of course, it becomes spiritual. Maybe that is when people started deifying it. All right? So a lot of men owe Ikenga because they have a point to prove to their families, to show proof of their achievement. In ancient times, most young men had their Ikenga carved once they begin different vocational careers. You see? The design of the Ikenga is not static. Let me say there are varieties of Ikenga. The Ikenga you see in this community might be different from another community in Igbo land. That doesn't mean that it is not an Ikenga. It means that the carver is permitted to design it the way they like, as long as it portrays whatever it is they want, as long as it is acceptable to the person that will be the owner of such Ikenga. Ikenga of a warrior is different from the person that is just an ordinary person. Warriors, you need to have that strength in you. You need to have that fierceness, that boldness, that courage, that indomitable spirit to approach the enemy, fight and conquer and subdue. All right. So the design of the Ikenga is not stable. It's not static. It's not something that you just see and say, oh, this Ikenga is the same all over. That everywhere you see it, yes. So gradually we are going down to tell you the different attributes of Ikenga. But before then, you need to know that an Ikenga can evolve. It is prone to evolving just as the responsibility of the owner changes. Do you see the interconnectivity? So, a young man whose main task is to defend his village receives a warrior's Ikenga holding a sword. So when you see an Ikenga holding a sword, know that the owner is a warrior. When the same man becomes accomplished as an elder, then he will get a title holder's Ikenga, the one that depicts a hand holding a sacred staff. You see, another example, another different type of Ikenga carving. The man's choosing profession, which is contrary, will not bring him success, though he has the responsibility of guiding and controlling his Ikenga, either by rejecting or throwing the Ikenga statue away. I hope you are not confused here, because we are talking about profession. That when someone changes profession, that means automatically his Ikenga will change. His carved Ikenga will change to the one that shows his current profession. Very simple. So, it is the owner of the Ikenga that has the responsibility of guiding and controlling his Ikenga then when this change occurs, either by throwing the Ikenga away or keeping it aside. So he will now choose a new Ikenga. Choosing a new Ikenga, that is a new profession, which is better than the former. Ikenga is what makes everything function in the universe, because our ancestors understood that for there to be progress in life, one must have an active Ikenga. Here is the reason why an Ikenga is consecrated, using things like yam, kola nuts, nzu oji edo, equally male and female fowl, to activate and concentrate it. The consecration, it is what gives it that spiritual connotation. It is what energizes an Ikenga. That is why after undergoing this process, you see people begin to deify Ikenga. And Ikenga Baalose. Maybe you can now say that once your Ikenga has become activated. So, what am I trying to say? The Ikenga has to do with you being hardworking. It has something to do with your career. As I'm a Dibia now, you see why my Ikenga was activated alongside with my Chi when I was appeasing my Chi. Chi na Ikenga, that was what was activated. So it shows one's area of expertise, what the person is, what the person is capable of producing. It shows your career, it shows your work, your area of expertise. So when an Ikenga is consecrated, that makes it very, very active physically and spiritually. I hope you understand.